Hi there, Scratch followers. It's Helena here, and welcome to another live with Scratch Magazine. And today I'm going to be joined by Valerie Delforge, who is the founder of the Delforge Group, which helps spas and beauty businesses to create sustainable, profitable businesses. And it's very exciting because she has just launched her first book, and that book is called I'd Rather Do It Myself, From Micromanagement to Leadership. Now, I know that a lot of people are very guilty of micromanagement, so she's going to share an insight into her book and also some top management tips for you. And what's more, we have one extra added bonus. Someone watching this live will win a signed copy of the book courtesy of Valerie. So I will invite her in now. And as always, if you do have any questions, throughout. So bear with. We will just invite now. This will also be saved to our feed. So if oh, there we are. So hello, Valerie, how are you?
I love it when it works.
I mean, it takes a few goes, doesn't it? But we get there in the end.
We do. Lovely to see you. Happy
And
New
you.
Year.
Oh gosh, yeah, Happy New Year. It already feels like a bit of a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
It really does. I was just talking to someone and it's like, how is it the 9th of January already?
I know. I feel like in the beauty industry, there always used to be this concept that Januaries were a pretty dead month. After, the craziness of December and back-to-back appointments and, everyone getting ready for Christmas and the New Year. January was known as a dead month, but I don't think that's the case anymore.
Not the case. It's absolutely not the case. I really think that October seems to be always a little bit of a tougher month, November. And it's been a little bit hit and miss in December for sure in some salons in terms of how busy you got or did we get that Christmas rush that we all expecting?
Yeah.
For sure. So yes, it's an interesting, new year, new kind of fresh energy.
Absolutely. And a new book, your first book. Very exciting. Congratulations. I mean,
So much.
let's rewind a little bit. You're an icon in this industry in terms of business and consultancy and what you do for spa and beauty businesses. But for those that maybe haven't followed you before, could you give us a bit of an insight into your background?
I mean, yes. How long do we have, really? In a nutshell, I guess I worked for corporates for quite a long time. I've been in the UK for 30 years, over 30 years now, being French, and I've worked for the likes of Clinique, Clarins, so very kind of, retail focus, customer journey focus. Then worked for L'Occitane, Urban Retreat. We set up the You Are Beautiful in Kingston, which was part of Urban Retreat at the time. So first time I worked with hairdressers, nail technicians, makeup artists, etc. I loved it, absolutely loved it. I also kind of worked with Bliss Spa at the time, which was in Sloane Avenue in London, where I was GM of 50 staff members. So all of my leadership and strategy skills had to kind of come under one roof. And from that, I became the head of spa from Steiner UK, which was 8 spas to look after. So very strategic, very focused on, how do we make those spas busy? What do we do in terms of the management of the team and the strategy around it? Then after that, I got a lot of people asking me for help. So 10 years ago, I set up my consultancy where I support owners in the growth of their business. Of one-to-one coaching. So it's all about one-to-one coaching rather than group coaching. We tried it at one point. I didn't enjoy it. I just love that one-to-one and love that kind of growth, seeing the managers and the owners kind of mindset go to a different way of thinking, becoming in the way they're thinking. So yeah, it's been 10 years now that I've been a consultant, and I've always had a book in my head. I want to work. I've always had that, and I guess a lot of people were expecting me to write about, running a successful business, etc. But to me, leadership has always been a huge part of being an owner, being an entrepreneur.
Mm.
So it has always been a focus. I manage very large teams, up to 230 people at some point. So, I felt like I had a few things to say when it comes to leadership and managing within the business.
Definitely. And the new book is focused on micromanagement. But in terms of the weaknesses that you've seen throughout your career in nail and beauty businesses, what are those key weaknesses? What are people doing, I guess, wrong that they need to kind of think about?
I mean, the thing is, when we meet new, people we're talking to, owners we're talking to, potential clients or clients, they always come to us and think, oh, I've not done this, I've not done that, and I haven't done this. And I think we need to stop that comparison. And I think social media, when I tell my girls, my daughters, we didn't have Facebook or Google when I was growing up. So, oh my God, she's like a dinosaur. Now we've got so much information that sometimes we feel a little bit disheartened with what we haven't done. Kind of start from the start. No, look, you've got a business, you've got a running business. Yes, it might not be where you want it to be, but you've done well so far. So the key is, how can we grow the business in order to make you feel that you are working for the business, not working around the business constantly. The business is working for you.
Yeah.
I guess that's where one-to-one coaching becomes really, really important, and because it guides you to your success. So for me, a big thing in the industry is that we are bogged down with the day-to-day industry, the day-to-day. There's all the wills in the world. Valerie, I'm really motivated. I've done my stuff that I needed to do. Come in on Monday. Flossie, who, for those who follow me, know Flossie is a difficult staff member. I used to give real names, and I thought I'm going to be sued at one point. So I started Flossie. Flossie van Dovzik, and Flossie too's got the ump because she's got to do all everyone's clients, and I need to manage the client. So we kind of back into the day-to-day. I need to change the light bulb, an electrician, a plumber, a counsellor for everyone. So we forget the growth as a business owner, and we tend to be in that day-to-day operation. The other thing is, there's, when we talk to clients or potential clients, there's less strategy. We're not thinking about the year ahead. We're thinking kind of, I'll be happy if the week goes well. So we're not thinking ahead. And the strategy for the year ahead for me is really, really crucial in order to grow the business. But it's difficult when you are in it constantly. And I guess since the pandemic, we know that there's been a huge difficulty in recruitment. It's never been the best recruitment, but it's worse than ever. We know that the attitude's changing, the mindsets are changing. So recruitment is a very, very tough one. So unless we know the business inside out, do we actually need to recruit? Who do we need to recruit? Do we need to change the way we're working in terms of structure and operation, so the business again is not run constantly by you? Being there 24/7. So I think that's the biggest thing. And then one thing I wrote down actually when I was thinking about this live, was that a lot of time we're not charging our worth easily. And that's a big topic. It's always been a big topic. We're getting a lot of conversation at the moment. Oh, but if I increase my prices, there's a crisis out there. They're not going to come. So we tend to have that vicious circle of, not charging the worth, not being profitable, and ultimately being really stuck in a corner, I guess, where, we're not growing because we're constantly functioning the same way.
Absolutely. I do think that nail techs in particular, having become so familiar with nail professionals as an audience, they're very humble, and they don't. And I am speaking across the board here. I'm stereotyping, but they don't see themselves as being valuable enough, which I'm baffled by, because you're giving such an amazing service. You're making people feel good and look good. And one thing is that every other cost has gone up. Utility costs have gone up, product costs have gone up.
Yeah,
Yet nail pros aren't putting their prices up in line with that. And they're muddling through because it's almost like, oh, I do a job I love though. So,
yeah,
I'm not going to charge people more. People will still come to you. There is an
yeah,
expectancy that costs are going up, and you can't be charging 2015 prices for a
yeah.
2023 service. The maths just
No,
doesn't math.
no, exactly that. And also, I think it gets to the stage where have you worked on the business? Again, strategy is a big word, in terms of marketing, in terms of understanding how can you grow the business. Do you need to kind of look at having someone alongside you to take off that demand that you might have? And yes, I believe that it's important to feel comfortable in the way you're functioning and the worth that you have. It's important. Your nails are important, so why not charging what you deserve? Because otherwise, in some cases, when we do a business audit, you may as well pay the client to sit down with you, and have their nails done. So you've got to really be looking at the business inside out, and a lot of time is through the audit that we create to really understand what where is going, I don't want to say wrong, but where it could go better.
Yeah.
And also, going back to a little bit of your point earlier, I think sometimes we're very good. I think it's an industry where we're very good at focusing on what we haven't done. I think let's start the new year about writing down everything that you've done really well last year, and are the areas of challenges that you need to work on for this year, including your price increase, including all of those things that you need to do. When I worked for big corporates, make no mistake, they used to charge every year an price increase, make zero sense. That happens with suppliers. So if you're not growing, you're going to start to really feel it on the cash flow purpose. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think I wrote in my editorial for the current issue, I was like, don't make resolutions, because resolutions can't be stuck to. Make reflections. So look back, look at the positives, but also, like you said, look at the areas that maybe need some work or need some attention, and focus on those. Rome wasn't built in a day. You play the long game, not the quick game.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
but there are supportive tools out there, like your book, and like your consultancy business. And bringing it back to your book, you focus specifically on one area that is a challenge for a lot of nail and beauty professionals, which is management, specifically micromanagement. Now, I will admit I struggle with management, in terms of some things you're like, oh well, I've been doing this for so long, I know how it can be done, I would do it myself. However, I did hear a quote a couple of years ago that really made me rethink things, and it was, just because somebody does it differently, it doesn't mean it's wrong.
Yeah.
And what's your concept of micromanagement in the beauty industry, and what kind of things does your book support with?
I guess, when I talk about leadership, we tend to think it's about teams, it's about managing teams. It's also managing you. You're the leader of your business. So if you work on your own, you still need to learn about leadership, and you still need to understand leadership to really work on that work-life balance that we're all craving for. And feel that you're going to work with a spring in your step because you feel really comfortable with where you're at. Yeah. So to me, leadership, it's very, very important. And I've seen the rise of micromanagers because we're having difficulty to recruit. So then we may as well do it myself. And by the time I train someone, they might leave. So therefore, what's the point? So there's a lot of that going on. And the trust issue, and the fact that the pandemic had made us really looking at the business and just take on the business and just make it our own. So we find it difficult to find processes and systems to make sure that it doesn't all rely on you. I mean, I was talking to someone yesterday who was saying to me, as an owner of 3 different salons, she still gets the text messages if someone is off sick. And it's, so why at 7 o'clock in the morning? Why is it you? You've got managers in each salon. Why are we not? Well, so at least I can look at the columns and I'm there before. So we find a lot of excuses in the way we function, and we can't think of any other way because, you know, I can control that. I know how to control it. So micromanagement it comes in different shapes and forms, but that's, for example, one of them. You know, it could be a micromanagement on the way we communicate. Mm-hmm. Because I'm seeing some WhatsApp groups, for example, that are horrendously negative. And if I'm a therapist, I'm at home and I'm seeing all these WhatsApp messages and room 5 wasn't cleaned and this and that, that's just not really empowering. Mm-hmm. And that's actually having the opposite effect. So with the book, I really wanted to do the book to talk a lot. And because I was head of spa operation before, it's all about operation. It's all about structure. Mm-hmm. It's all about how do you structure your team or yourself, even if you're on your own. Do you outsource, you know, a PA to help you with some admin tasks? Do you have a little admin person that's going to help you doing things? I was talking to someone who's on her own. She's a hairdresser, and when I discussed the week, she said, oh yeah, I was doing my VAT on Sunday. Why? The accountant, how much does it cost for him to do the VAT? Because you shouldn't even look at that, and never mind on a Sunday. And you know, let's get rid of that from your to-do list. It's not down to you to do it. Texting me later, it's 100 quid more. Best £100 you've ever gonna spend. Mm-hmm. You know, so we need to really look at how we function, the system and the structure in place, and that's what I talk a lot about in the book. To me, it's crucial. And sometimes, if we don't feel aligned with the business, so if you feel, oh, this is just not really fully aligned with it, that means the way you're functioning needs to be tweaked. Yeah. And that's why I don't like to say I've done it wrong or it's not. No, you haven't. You've done it so far. You've survived the last 3 years. Yeah. You know, you've survived all of that. You're here now. So what next? How can I make sure that moving forward, I'm working the way I want to work?
Definitely. I think one of the best things I ever did, I had management training, and it was to find what kind of manager you are. Everyone has a different style based on their personality and what they're comfortable with. I'm not the kind of person that enjoys difficult conversations or hard conversations or can be blunt with people, but that doesn't matter. There are different ways around things. And I think it's important to understand what kind of manager you are in the workplace to understand what's going to work for you.
Yeah. 1,000,000%. I mean, look, I'm French. When I first started in the industry, I had my boss telling me, you know, Valerie, you need to tone it down. You know, it's a little bit softer here in the UK. So, you know, so I had to learn the hard way. I had to learn the hard way in terms of, you know, yes, my communication was just too straightforward. Mm-hmm. Understand that each staff member doesn't have the same kind of mindset when they come than me. So I had to accept that someone is coming in to get a bit of pocket money and want a bit of life between the children, and they're not necessarily as motivated as I am. So it's getting all these characters and making them really focus on something really the same goal, which is pure leadership, absolute pure leadership. And if you work on your own, it's exactly the same. It's how do I want my days to work?
Yeah.
I was just talking to someone who said, well, you know, I'm trying to have my admin day, but I've just booked someone in for their nails in the middle of the day because, you know, I couldn't do it any other time. But if you keep accepting that, you'll never have your admin day. And you're constantly going to feel frustrated because you're not where you want to be. So it's a vicious circle that needs to be having a look at, that's what we do, is looking at different perspectives, you know. It work? How can we make it work in a different perspective? Because otherwise, if you're fine, you're aligned with your business, you're happy where you are, great, and that's what we're. But if you feel that you're not really aligned and this stuff that's not happening the way you want to happen, we've got to look at that. We've got to change.
Definitely. And I think it helps sometimes to have those reflective moments
Yeah.
and almost write a list. I mean, I was taught to do a traffic light list.
Ooh.
What's top of my priorities list? What needs to be done most urgently? What can't I leave until another day? Then what can wait a little bit longer but still needs to be done? And what can maybe I delegate to somebody else or leave until I have spare time? What can be in that bottom section? And that really helps you mentally gain that bit of direction, I think, with management, because it's such a difficult area to navigate and it doesn't come naturally to everyone, does it?
No, it doesn't. And a lot of time you've got wonderful service providers who started their own business, and they kind of, a lot of clients that come to us is like, I've been winging it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I want to wing it more. I want to be more strategic. And a lot of time, but it doesn't mean they haven't done well so far. It just means that the growth is plateaued. There's so much they can get to. And unless they work differently, it's always going to be on the same level. So we've just got to look at how you function. There's never been a true sentence, or quote that says it comes from the top. It comes from the top. It comes from you. You're the entrepreneur. You're the owner, and it has to come from you in the way you function and in the way you are kind of wanting to deliver those states. There's so much comparison going on. There's so much information. I think that's the key as well. There's too much information sometimes. And I find that when we start working with someone, it's like, for 6 months, don't listen to anything. After that, once we're really set on where we're going, you then can listen to what you want. But stop putting your mind into all sorts of, I didn't, I should have, I could have, I didn't. Mm-hmm. That's communication. So in the book, I talk a lot about, in terms of the tips, I guess, is all about soft skills. And soft skills of leadership are, there's two soft skills that we must adopt no matter what. Number one is the communication. Communicate to your team. How do you communicate to yourself is perhaps one of the most important. And is your communication impactful, or is it kind of sporadic, or I keep repeating myself? Well, if you repeat yourself all the time, there's the way that you communicate that perhaps is not going through. So communication is a big soft skill to adopt. And the second one is the time management. You've just mentioned it, the traffic light. I like that a lot. Time management. If you can time manage yourself properly and efficiently and consistently, you'll feel lighter. The minute you feel lighter, everything looks a little bit rosier, and we can deal with situations that occur. But if we feel bogged down with everything and it feels really heavy, and I haven't done that and I should have, and Valerie, don't worry, I'll do it after the kids gone to bed. No, you need the life. You need a little relax after the bed. So we shouldn't have to do that. So it's really, really important to look at those soft skills and really learn. And I'm still learning with time management. There's a new book on time management. I'll read it because I want to learn. I want to keep thinking, am I still doing the right thing? Did I do something that I could do differently?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so inspired by what's in your book. I mean, just listening to you now talking about these areas, I'm thinking, yep, I need to do that. I need to take that on board. And it's something that is so practical and so necessary. But in terms of putting your book together, I mean, how long did it take and how is it structured? Is it in sections, chapters? What can we learn from it?
Two parts of the book. I've got two parts. The first part is all about micromanagement, understanding micromanagement. Why do we micromanage? So I created a couple of characters in the book, and I want hopefully that you'll find certain aspects of their examples. Oh yeah, I've done this. I had a client who called me and said, oh my God, every single one of them I've actually done. Because I want it to be relatable in some ways. So really understanding why do we manage, and then the second part is all about the solutions to micromanagement. And that comes a little bit more strategic, and that becomes a little bit more, kind of looking at your soft skills, how you function as a leader in order to be able to empower others. And I'm a strong believer that if you empower yourself, you can empower others, whether it's your staff members, whether it's your client. But if you don't feel empowered and you just kind of, it's never going to be what you want it to be. So to me, it's quite important. So how long it took? Well, I signed up for that literally in 2019. And we know what happened in 2020. So, I think it was like November 2019, and 2020 was like, there's absolutely no way. I was so busy bringing my business online. So I kind of pushed it back, and I finalized everything in 2022. And then by the time you kind of have the publisher and this and that and this going on, we launched it at the end of the year.
Amazing.
So it can take a quicker process. I think I was doing it in between everything. I was doing it with the passion that I had around my micromanagement. And to be fair, at the beginning, I hadn't thought about micromanagement. It just really, when I sat down and I looked at what was going on in the industry, I thought this is an absolute, this is exactly what's going on. It's micromanagement to the finest, because we think it's better if I do it myself. I may as well. It's no point. I don't need to train someone. It's going to take too long. So we are in that little vicious circle of not being able to grow the business because we're constantly on top of everything. So yeah, it's been a journey. I've loved it, it's out there now.
So where can people get it from? Because I'm going straight to where I can get it from. So
on Amazon UK, you can get it from there. So you can get it on Kindle, or you can have it printed. It's printed on demand. It's fascinating. I went to visit the distributor. It's just really fascinating. I couldn't take a video, unfortunately. It's signing an NDA, but really, really fascinating. They print on demand. If you wanted a signed copy, obviously that comes from me. I'm still yet to do the audio. That's on my to-do list as a priority. But that's another skill set, and this is what I mean. I'm getting on with my age and everything else, and you keep learning. And I think that's such an exciting time. Really exciting.
Amazing. Well, the exciting bit now is that we're going to choose someone to win a signed copy of the book, courtesy of you.
I want you to do it.
Well, I've noted a couple of names down that have been watching since the very beginning, and I think someone that seems very interested in your book is, drumroll, Nails by Gab. So Nails by Gab will contact you afterwards to get your details, and Valerie will send you a lovely signed copy of her amazing book.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us. And like Valerie said, you can get the book via Kindle or Amazon, or visit the delforgegroup.com. Is that correct?
It's the delforgegroup.co.uk.
Sorry.
Got everything there. Nell by Gabs, she seems very happy. I'm so excited. And someone just said, can't wait for you, audio. I promise you I will do an audio. But do you know what it is as well? It's just my voice, isn't it? It's like you have to be really, on top of it. So I'm getting there. So yeah, audio will come. And we're doing also a lot of different webinars, and we're going to start doing a few workshops, etc. My lovely team trying to put me on TikTok.
My team are as well, and I feel like I just can't get to grips with it. I can watch it, but I don't know how to do it yet. So it's a skill that
that one that's and that.
That's a hard skill that we're working towards. So
I'm on TikTok. So yeah, bear with me. But thank you so much, everybody, for having me. Thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure.
Absolute pleasure. And everyone, go and follow Valerie now. And we look forward to hearing what you all think of her book.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye.